But today we're going to talk about the real estate lie. The lie that is Vancouver real estate.
Slippery sons of bitches. 525.
Anything that comes into with the word tax at the end of it is literally for the government to take more money.
The NDP has gotten back in.
Okay. You're just trying to get money, because if you're actually trying to help locals, why do you not provide incentives for locals to buy versus taxing on people who are from outside of the country? So, doesn't like you.
Loves me.
Pee on him, George. Pee on him. Wants to run around.
Nope.
You're the worst. You are the
Love
absolute worst.
You don't want to jump too high? No, don't jump. You're out. See you later.
Good talk, George. Jay, welcome back to another Sharp Stories.
It is March 30th.
March 30th.
I don't think we highlighted that my birthday was March 19th.
I think we did. Did we?
Not enough. There were no balloons. There were no special effects.
How old were you? That's probably why we didn't highlight it. How old were you?
29.
Playing that card, hey? Oh, hang on. Speaking of which, let's find what the end result was for how old your headshot was.
Show the headshot. Yesterday.
How old is that headshot? And what do we all think? Obviously 15 years.
15 years. So I was 10?
Ah, the majority of people got it right 12 years ago.
It's not correct.
Wow. There's a lot of people who answered on this. A lot of people said 15 years ago.
No.
One person even messaged me saying 30 years ago.
Who?
You know who. I will not bring it up though.
That's...
There you go. So just for reference, I should have put a picture of you now versus...
They can fucking see me now. Oh, in that?
But yeah, versus like you then, and then made people make the guess. But nonetheless...
That's what I looked like last night. Yesterday at the office.
Okay, you've been using Just for Men. But today we're going to talk about the real estate lie. The lie that is Vancouver real estate.
Slippery sons of bitches.
The fable that is Vancouver real estate. And we're just going to call it out, and we don't care.
The Vancouver real estate fable. Or the Vancouver real... I still like the Vancouver real estate virtue signal.
Once again, it's the worst title of all time.
The virtue signal, which is the Vancouver real estate market.
Okay. Anyway, so as we've spoken about quite a few times over the years, when the powers that be bring in some new regulations, they bring in some new taxes, they bring in some new this, some new that.
Just layering bureaucracy.
There we go, layering bureaucracy all over the place where it shouldn't
Disgusting.
be layered. Always with the premise of this is to protect buyers, this is to protect sellers, this is to protect the individuals. That is the lie. That is the lie in and of itself. And yeah, go on. No, you carry on, Jay. You break down some of the
So basically what we're talking about is this is mainly brought up because the current domestic provincial government discussion to slow the real estate market, which has already begun to slow, is that this summer, we thought they were going to do it last, what day is it? Wednesday. We thought we were going to do it last week, or Monday, but they've stated, I believe it was Monday, that by the summer, they will have made a decision based on this new and ridiculous
Well, I believe
off
they're changing
period.
laws now, or going through that side of things, to allow this cooling off period to take effect. Which, by the way, 65% of people randomly surveyed in British Columbia said that they don't want it. It's not necessary.
It's not a good idea.
So there we go.
35% support, so let's charge forward. A very socialist approach from my head. But anyway, so in the light of that, when we will see what that looks like this summer, we just wanted to go back a little bit and highlight, I guess you will,
revisit some of the changes that have come over the last handful of years.
from the government getting there.
I'm going to call it out. It's from the government trying to cover their own tails, like waving the magic wand over this way, but the actual trick is being done with a sleight of hand over here.
Yeah, so that was a lot nicer than what I was going to get to. So we're going to start with government trying to implement change in the real estate market.
Okay.
And obviously we've had a Liberal or an NDP
get to the point.
government.
Yeah. Yes, we have.
Well, I know, but
NDP
that needs to be very highlighted because
everyone
that
is
is
aware
the problem.
they also live here as well. Unless you're watching from Turkey, we love you.
There are some Turkish.
Second highest. Anyway, carry on.
Will that translate out for us automatically, or do they watch in English? Is it dubbed? When it's
No, I
shown
think
there?
it's in English, but I'm sure it will give subtitles. Closed captioning, I hope.
Okay, so we're going to start with the Liberals' foreign buyers tax, which, as we know, started at
15%.
and then added another
2016, then 2018, the NDP changed it to 20%.
Yes, which just happened in Ontario. We just found out they just jumped
they
from
just
15
announced
to
that
20.
Going to do it. This is that I'm going to wave the magic stick over here while you're not looking, because the whole premise when they first came into we're doing the foreign buyers tax was to curb affordability. The whole backstory behind it was real estate in Vancouver is becoming too expensive because of foreign buyers purchasing, and in order to combat that and make it more affordable, this is from 2016, we need to put in this foreign buyers tax. Everyone was like, yay, that's fantastic. I wonder how people genuinely feel about it now in today's woke day and age, because it's actually kind of racist. But we'll wait and see on that one. But inevitably, if you ask anyone what's happened in prices since 2016 to 2022,
they've obviously gone the hell up.
They've obviously gone way up, and it cannot all be blamed on COVID pushing it way up. It was still going up before COVID anyway.
So when the foreign buyers tax came in, obviously there was a pause in the market, because when things that quite
drastic,
believed to be catastrophic and drastic come in, people wait. For example, why we're seeing the slowdown now, in my opinion, I'm sure you agree
Interest
to a
rates.
certain degree, rates started to go up. People are going to say, well, I believe now that there's going to be some pause in the market. Buyers are going to say, I can probably get it cheaper next month, so let's just wait and watch.
Mm-hmm.
Can't get any worse than it is, so it makes sense to wait and maybe we get something for once. So, foreign buyers tax. Well guised as a reason to slow the market, which in theory, yes, because everyone held off
so we'll
because of the
preface
shock.
this and say this. Anything that comes into with the word tax at the end of it is literally for the government to take more money.
And not to help anyone other
It's
than
not
God
to help
themselves.
anyone but themselves at all. And when you actually break down the figures of the foreign buyers tax, you really see how little a difference it makes to the average buyer and seller out there, but how much, of course, in dollar value it means to the local authorities.
So 519 million has been collected
Since 2016?
since 2018. This is 2018 to 2022.
Okay.
So 519 million
Foreign buyers
on
tax.
that. Now we can. That's wrong. Let's pause the video. 525. That's 2018 and 2022, right?
You wrote it down. It's your chicken scratch.
Give me 2 seconds.
Okay, short intermission, ladies and gentlemen.
So,
Did you just crack ass?
no. I heard some too. So, the foreign buyers tax collective from 2018 to 2022 collected was $519 million. Okay. So that was the first. Then, somehow, after what took place, you were too young to remember, throughout the entire 90s of British Columbia, the NDP has gotten back in.
Okay.
So, with the NDP, we've now been introduced to another layer of assistance to the real estate market.
Okay, but in the didn't you have the figures for the last year, for 2021? How much foreign buyers tax brought in?
$525 million of transactions.
Okay, yeah.
Were foreign buyers tax applicable. So it was about 103 million.
Okay, so essentially
so 525. So it turned out to...
So we worked it out as, let's say, 525
$1 million
condos
were applicable.
Now,
before you put that into perspective, we know that obviously wasn't 525 $1 million condos.
No, of course.
Because that target market is obviously typically skews to the higher end of the market.
Exactly.
So dramatically less than 525 sales.
Yeah, so it's not even going to be this high, but when you work out that versus the 44,000 homes sold in 2021, that's less than 1.2%.
1.19% were foreign buyers in 2021.
Yeah.
The numbers show.
And so again, like, to the point, it's the magic wand over here because it's somebody to blame, but it's less than 1.2% annually. So it's not changing the market, and it's not the reason why you cannot afford a home, basically. However, it's a very nice, in the last grand scheme since 2018, 520 million
that the government has
in the pockets of the government
dove into their coffers. Yes.
They don't actually want the market to slow down. When they implement these taxes, there is a hope that they can just continue going as busy as it was, or
with the tax.
Close to busy, but with the tax.
Trudeau's not going to have the biggest bulk of his voter base have deflated home prices at the next election.
Well, it's not Trudeau put it in, but nonetheless,
it goes up, obviously, domestically as well. It's the same thing. But it all comes back to Trudeau. I'm referencing, obviously, the biggest problem, which is the
no, you
interest
can just leave
rates.
it there. Trudeau, the biggest problem, full stop.
But anyway, you know what I mean, and you know what we know what you're saying. So now, second layer to that was, of course, the NDP's speculation and vacancy tax, and vacancy and empty homes tax, and the speculation tax, which clouded the shit out of the waters for a lot of people for a while. But that was another implementation of another layer or a couple layers of bureaucracy to help the real estate market, help affordability, help domestics get into the market, which of course did not hinder the market in any way, but it did add $248 million to the coffers between 2018 and 2022.
Yeah, so the question that I always have as well, when they put these like new additional taxes out there and they say we're trying to help locals, we're trying to help this, you're just trying to get money, because if you're actually trying to help locals, why do you not provide incentives for locals to buy versus taxing on people who are from outside of the country? So, and this is Canada wide as well. Like, we have these first time home buyer incentives you can pull from the RSP, property transfer tax if it's below 525,000, which you speak to any first time home buyer trying to buy in Vancouver, it doesn't exist. And if it does, it's about to crumble, and you've got an extremely turbulent time of special levies and whatnot. So, but again, the incentives run Canada-wide. They're happy to bring in more charges provincially, but they never want to input any incentives to help people actually get into the market in the first place.
So they know that real estate is the cash cow. They know that that market is going to continue to roll and that they can get away with. We just add a little layer of tax on top to every little transaction.
We're going to pull in generating hundreds. Scheme. Clearly it's how much overall have they brought in from even property transfer tax? Well,
so property transfer tax in that time, 2018 to 2022, which has been in since I think 87, 8.4 billion.
So again, that property transfer tax in and of itself is $1 billion industry before you add all of these additional taxes on top of that as well.
So now you've got your
property taxes have gone up.
Your general property tax that's of course increasing. That's in that time frame, that 4 years is another 13.6 billion. So you've got there's roughly it was 780 million added from 2018 to 2022 with the foreign buyers, the speculation, and the empty homes taxes, on top of the already 22 billion that they've brought in from property transfer tax and just property tax. So it's very obvious, to Ben's point, which is the fundamental view of this video, is that there's no provincial incentives to do anything. The government is not incentivizing, making incentivizing changes to the market. They're simply adding taxes and saying, look, we're doing something, thank you for all the money, we're doing something, and people are still championing these goddamn ridiculous government points of view, which are helping them in no way.
The magic wand is over here. They're good magicians. It's the same thing with this cooling off period as well. Okay, this is going to help, even though the majority have said, no, it's not necessary. But, okay, so I have a theory, and I'm going to throw this theory out here. The big question has been, one of the debates over this cooling off period, a big debate has been, why have the real estate authorities, the appropriate boards, etc., not been reached out to and not been a part of this discussion? My theory is because the moment you get the professionals in, you get the root cause of the problem. And the moment the root cause of the problem is there front and center, people expect it to be dealt with. So if they don't engage the appropriate people like the boards and agents, people who are actually in the business, then they can keep on waving this magic wand over here, claiming, oh, this is the answer, everyone will champion that, and then they're again still doing the sleight of hand over here. Whereas you bring in the board and everyone else, they're going to say, no, we have a problem here with density issues and building permits and things like that. All of the things that, again, really need to be defined and worked out and fixed in order to fix the problem, which is supply. And they can't continue waving the magic wand. So I think it's intentional, because the longer you can wave the magic wand, the better. And I think from a government perspective, it's hopefully by the time all the shit hits the fan, it will be a different government in place, and we can just blame them and we can just say, see what they did?
So my perspective is that, as we've talked about before, supply is not the issue. It is rates, and that is a direct decision of the government. So when they go into these details and along the way collect tax and tell the people that these are the resulting measures to get the market down, instead of just bumping the rates up, which is the only way they're going to.
Locally, they can't affect rates. So, but I mean, like locally, they input all of these taxes, but there's no incentives locally. Yes, the Bank of Canada will come up and raise interest rates, but obviously the province doesn't have a say in saying, no, you're not going to for BC, or yes, you're going to higher for BC. My point is from a provincial standard, because the province itself needs to fix a lot of their permit applications, their zoning, it needs to be updated drastically. We need to fix that.
Yes, but that's not what has created the problem today.
So
it's a fraction.
It's what created a huge part of the problem today, because we just don't have the supply. Interest rates, of course, have been extremely low, as we've spoken about. People are sitting on cash, but basic supply and demand, the reason why our real estate gets so expensive as well, is because there is not that supply. If there was enough supply to support this, it'd be a lot better of a situation. But again, the more we wave the wand over here, the more we can take your attention away from the real problem.
Okay, well, we'll agree to disagree on that. But at the end of the day, yes, there is a provincial layer, and that is provincial government and creating resistance. It takes 2.5 to 3 years to build a goddamn house.
Yeah.
Why is that?
No, it's easy for a permitting process to take a year plus.
Exactly, so it's ridiculous. So one other telling tale that we talked about this morning, foreign buyer ban for 2 years, which Trudeau also ran on.
This is fantastic as well.
At a federal level.
This is how you tell that it's all complete BS, because if it really was foreign buyers doing this to us,
and they really cared to do something,
then they would have done exactly what they said they were going to do. Everyone came out campaigning saying foreign buyers are going to not be allowed to buy for the next 2 years. It's already been vetoed out. They've already brought it up with the discussion, it's already been like, no, we can't do that. Next. So it's not that. It's because what happens if they ban all foreign buyers? Well, in BC alone, you lose 525 million a year.
Now, prospectively to the market, again, that's only 1.19%, but when you look at the dollars, 519 million is going to go a long way.
Yeah.
Just for us, let alone Ontario, yada, 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 which I'm sure is bigger problems with all that. So when you're championing these government-led, we're going to do something about it, and I can't afford real estate today, and the government's going to help me tomorrow, just be very aware.
Yeah, that there's a hidden agenda behind things.
That the government is not here for us. The government is its own system, trying to make its own money to feed its own people.
If they really did care, then there would be more incentives in order to help people get into the market, which there are not anything provincially. Oh no, you get a slight little discount off your property transfer
I don't even know
tax.
where the property transfer tax rebate or the first time home buyer, that's going to assist in like Nunavut. What is property prices up there? That's going to make an actual difference.
No, property tax you get a discount from.
Property transfer
residents. No, property tax. Property transfer tax. Yeah.
The rebate. I'm not talking about...
I'm talking about property transfer tax. They give you a little bit of a discount.
Yeah, under $500,000. You get, if you're a first-time buyer, you're exempt.
But right now, the only incentive they're really giving you is for property tax yearly. If it's your principal residence, you can get a little bit of
little rebate. Of course.
That's it. It's like negligible. But
the property transfer tax rebate, which is one small incentive, and the first-time home buyer rebate for RSPs is another. And that's...
But again, that's federally wide.
That's what I mean. So those are realistically applicable in very small communities where real estate prices do not start where they do here.
It's applicable for most communities,
It's applicable, but it's not going to make a difference.
Well, if you live in Calgary, it makes a huge difference.
And the price difference between here and Calgary is what, it's a third?
No, I would say we're more than a third higher.
We're 2/3 higher, at least.
So, so there you go. So therefore your money already, because these are federal across the country, your money goes a lot further.
Outside of Ontario.
Outside of Toronto,
blah, 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 of course.
Vancouver, Montreal, and so on and so forth.
So those sorts of things I'm saying should be looked at, not federal, provincial incentives. Here it should be different.
And that's the thing, and that's how you know it's all BS, because if they really did care about trying to help people get on the market and making it affordable, there would actually be incentives. Yes. But then that's when you have to start giving out money.
Yeah, but that's
whoa, we've been taking in 519 million a year from this like foreign buyers.
They'll print.
We don't want to give out money.
Dilute the currency, but they will not hand real money over from actual circumstances that are going to pay them. So no, of course. So we're going to leave it at that. I think it's too long.
I don't think so. And then finally, there was what they announced recently, that they're going to be targeting REITs. Actually, you know what? We're not. Anyone who knows what a REIT is, please just comment below. Just send us a message. I'm actually interested to see how many people know what a REIT is. Don't tell them what it is. Even further, if you do know what it is, please, in your comment, please say how it's actually going to help the market. And this is not like a trick question. I'm genuinely asking how many people out there know what a REIT is, and if they could say how they think it's going to help the market.
Are you of the opinion that that is going to help the market?
No.
Okay, good. You had me worried for a second.
By coming out and saying we're targeting REITs, I think a very small minority of people actually know what a REIT is.
I would hope that's not the case, but let's see.
In the grand scheme of things, Al, do you know what a REIT is?
Of course it does.
I explained it to him last week. That's fake, that's why. But so we'll just leave it as that. I think that pretty much has it. We've broken down our disdain.
Yeah, you just have to go and make more money if you want to afford real estate easier, have less expenses, the whole nine. It's pretty straightforward. Or wait, the market has started to change, so maybe it goes down that just enough that you can just squeak in and then you're good.
People have been hoping to for the last 10 years.
Let's hope.
Okay, we'll see you next week, guys. Thank you.